In the heart of Arabian desert, where winds sweep across the barren plains and mountains stand like ancient guardians of forgotten secrets, a moment was drawing near. A moment so quiet, so hidden, yet destined to change the course of history. It began in Mecca, not with the shout, nor the clang of swords, but with a birth. A child entered the world on a night unlike any other. Far from the desert sands, in the grand temple of the fire in Persia, a flame that had burned continuously for 1,000 years suddenly flickered and went out. The eternal fire of Zoroaster, extinguished without reason. In distant Syria, a place known to shelter kings and armies shook violently, and one of its ancient columns came crashing down, as if it surrendering to a power yet unseen. No one knew what this meant, not yet. But the signs were clear to those who watched and wondered. Something has changed in the unseen world. A divine plan was unfolding, and in Mecca, beneath the stars, a newborn lay cradled in his mother's arms. Amina bint Wahab, glowing with both love and sorrow, held her son close to her chest. He would never meet his father Abdullah, taken from this world before his eyes could open. But he was not alone. His grandfather Abdul Muttalib stepped into Kaaba with this newborn in his arms, his eyes glistening with tears. Surrounded by the stillness of the sacred walls, he raised the child gently and proclaimed,
"His name will be Muhammad, the most praised one."
a name unlike any other in Mecca, a name foretold in dreams, whispered by angels, and now announced before the house of Allah. The Kaaba stood still, the heavens listened, and the city of Mecca unknowingly welcomed the one who would rise from within it to change the course of humanity forever. In those days, it was a common custom among noble families in Mecca to send their newborns into the desert. There, under the open skies, away from the illnesses and the chaos of the city life, children will grow strong, breathe clean air, and learn the purest form of Arabic. That year, women from the tribe of Banu Sa came to Mecca hoping to find children to nurse. Among them was a woman named Halima bint Abi Dhu'ayb, her husband Haris, and their infant son. But Halima did not arrive in glory. She came in hardship. Her donkey limped at the back of the caravan, too weak to keep pace. Her camel gave no milk. Her child cried endlessly from hunger. Drought had struck their lands. Her family was worn down by hunger, and hope was fading. By the time Halima reached Mecca, every other woman had already found a child. No one wanted the orphan boy whose father had died before his birth. There would be no father to pay for his care, no extra gifts, no assurance of support. Halima passed by him too. But as she sat with her husband Harith beneath the cold stars that night, she confessed what weighed on her soul.
I am the only one without a child. I cannot go to our people like this.
Her husband looked at her, tired but wise, and nodded gently.
Then take him. Perhaps it is this very orphan who will bring us Barakah.
Halima lowered her gaze, torn between fear and faith, and in that quiet moment, as the desert wind whispered across the sands, destiny shifted. And so she returned. She lifted Muhammad into her arms, not knowing she was carrying the most blessed soul to ever walk the face of the earth. The moment they turned back towards the desert, everything changed. Her donkey suddenly moved with a remarkable speed, now leading the way ahead of everyone else. Likewise, her camel, once producing only a trickle of milk, became full and strong. Her region had been suffering from dry spell, and her animals produced scarcely enough milk. Almost immediately, her animals grew healthier and began yielding abundant milk. Her young starving son, once restless and crying, now smiled and slept peacefully. Eyes widened, whisper began. Her companions stared in disbelief. They could not explain what they saw, but Halima knew this was no ordinary child. They had taken in a child, and with him came a storm of mercy. He brought nothing but Barakah, Halima would later say. Ever since he came into our home, everything changed. Halima nurtured the young Muhammad in the stark but healthy desert climate for the first 2 years. Under her care, he developed strength, a calm temperament, and an appreciation for the arms of the Bedouin life. When Muhammad turned 2, it was time for Halima to bring Muhammad back to Mecca to reunite with his mother Amina. Fearing her home region might lose its good fortune and convinced that the desert still offered the healthiest upbringing, Halima pleaded Amina to keep him longer. Amina agreed, and so Muhammad returned with Halima to the desert for an extended stay. Then came the moment that shook Halima to her core. It was during this second stay that an event occurred, often referred to as the opening of the chest. According to the Islamic traditions, the angel Jibreel appeared when young Muhammad was playing with other children. Jibreel is said to have opened his chest, remove a portion described as the share of the Satan, cleansing his heart and then restoring it.
Mother, Mohammed has been hurt.
When Halima and her husband rushed to him, they saw no scar, only serenity, but fear gripped their hearts. This phenomenon deeply alarmed Halima and her family, who feared for Muhammad's safety. Overcome by concern, Halima decided it was best to return Muhammad to his mother in Mecca sooner than planned. Though the separation weighed heavily on her, having grown attached to the boy who had brought so much blessing to her family, she believed he would be safer under the watchful mother's eye. Halima returned him to Mecca, her eyes moist, her arm reluctant to let him go. The child who had brought light into their home was no longer theirs to keep. For Halima, this journey was more than a chance to earn a living. It was an opportunity to experience firsthand the exceptional nature of a child who would soon light a path for all humanity. In the end, her role as a wet nurse came to a close, and thus the desert bore witness to the first chapter of the Prophet's life, nursed by love, raised in hardship, wrapped in blessings. As for Muhammad, a new chapter began, his childhood life under the love and care of his mother, Amina. In these early days, Amina poured her love and affection into her young son, still grieving the loss of her husband Abdullah, who had died before Muhammad's birth. Mecca itself was a bustling hub of religious and commercial activity. Pilgrims from distant tribes would arrive regularly to revolve the Kaaba. Caravans rumbled through the narrow streets bringing spices, textiles and other goods from far-off places like Yemen and Syria. Surrounded by these vibrant scenes, Amina guided her son through daily life. They might walk by the Kaaba, observing throngs of people performing their own style of ritual or prayer. Young Muhammad, curious yet contemplative, would absorb the sight and sound of the city, still steeped in polytheism. Music and poetry often graced the gatherings of the noble clans, while lively storytellers in the market corners recounted the proud legends of the Arabia's past. Despite her sorrows, Amina ensured that her son witnessed the stronger virtues of Meccan society. Hospitality was praised, and neighbors would share what little they had. At times, passersby might invite Amina and her child to taste freshly made dates or milk, reflecting the communal spirit that upheld Mecca's traditions. Occasionally, small trade fairs or festive celebrations took place, further illuminating the child's view of a lively metropolis. Day by day, Muhammad watched the caravans depart and return. Listened to traveling merchants share stories of distant land and saw how guests and strangers were warmly received in their homes. These experiences would leave quiet yet indelible impression on his young heart. When Muhammad was about 6 years of age, Amina decided to make a significant trip. She resolved to take her child to Yathrib, later known as Medina, where his father Abdullah had passed away on a previous journey and was buried. Together with her servant Ayman, Amina set out across the desert, planning to visit Abdullah's resting place and spend some time with her own relatives who lived in or near Yathrib. This journey was intended to give young Muhammad a glimpse of where his father had died and to strengthen his bond with the maternal side of his family. Arriving in Yathrib, they spent about a month with relatives, giving Muhammad the chance to experience a different environment beyond Mecca's hills. The young child discovered a more vibrant landscape, meeting relatives who welcomed him warmly. This brief sojourn offered Muhammad a glimpse of a city that would one day become central to his mission as a prophet. As they began their journey back to Mecca, tragedy struck. Somewhere between Yathrib and Mecca, at a place known as Al-Abwa, Amina fell gravely ill. Despite Ayman's care, Amina's condition worsened rapidly and she passed away, leaving Muhammad an orphan at just 6 years of age. This loss echoed the sadness Muhammad already carried from never knowing his father, compounding the trials of his early life. In a span of just 6 years, he experienced the pain of losing both parents, an experience that would shape his deep empathy for orphans and the needy. From Al-Abwa, Muhammad was brought back to Mecca by Ayman.
On our way back from Yathrib, Lady Amina passed away.
Grief engulfed the family once again. His grandfather Abdul Muttalib stepped in to care for him. A respected elder of the Quraysh and a guardian of the Kaaba, Abdul Muttalib had already shown immense fondness of his young grandson. Now, with both parents gone, he embraced Muhammad with even more and greater compassion. Although Abdul Muttalib's guardianship would be relatively brief, he will also pass away just a couple of years later. These formative moments built a unique resilience in Muhammad. Living under the wing of the clan's patriarch, he observed the working of Mecca's societies firsthand. The tribal traditions, the sacred rites around the Kaaba, and the raw realities of the life for those without wealth and protection. The hardship he faced helped nurture the sense of justice and mercy that would define his later mission.